Okay, so hi everyone, welcome. I'm so excited for our first, I'm just gonna mute you all right now, just to distract me. Okay, yes, okay. So I was thinking of a cute name, whatever. This series of baking together, cooking together, whatever, something like Brooke bakes or something like that, whatever. But I feel like that connotes that I eat everything after, and I'm trying not to, so whatever, we'll come up with a better name. But anyways, okay, so we are going to start this just women's events. We have to come up with also a good name. I'll take your suggestions after. Nishea dot something plus family members that are here. For anyone that just joins, we have my mother, my mother-in-law, and my sister here joining us, so thank you. I'll spotlight you guys after, but too much pressure right now, sorry. Okay, so we're gonna start with Challah, and I'm very excited to do this together with everyone. Obviously, unfortunately, I would have loved if it was in person, but virtual will have to do for now in this climate. Okay, so what you're going to do is take your medium bowl. Also, I kind of feel like I'm living out a childhood dream of being on a cooking show. Okay, you're going to take your medium bowl, your 4 cups of warm water, not hot, warm water. Perfect, okay. And just pour it in the bowl. And then take your dispute about how many tablespoons of yeast. If someone wants to quickly do the math for me or Google it, just so that I don't mess up everyone. But I thought that 4 packets was equivalent to 3 tablespoons. If it's not, someone unmute yourself and let me know. But for now, I mix it together just for time. So I have my yeast and my sugar. I'm pouring it in. And I forgot to mention, get a fork, just so that, to get all the clumps out. I'll show you in a second what it looks like.
How much sugar, Brooke?
A tablespoon of sugar.
1 tablespoon sugar, 3 tablespoons yeast.
Correct, unless I'm wrong and someone wants to tell me.
It's probably right.
How much is equivalent to 4 packets?
Brown or white sugar, Brooke?
I do white. I've never tried with
Brooke, I do 3 tablespoons. There's 4 packets also. I've used those interchangeably in my recipe, and it works the same.
How many, Pam? How much?
3 tablespoons is 4 packets.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my recipe, and it comes out the same. I use either one.
Okay, fine. All right. It's because thank God for Lang's when there was no yeast anywhere, I got that big packet of it. But I usually just use the 4 packets. Okay, so you want to really get lumps out. It's starting.
Did you already put the sugar in?
What?
Did you pour the sugar in already?
Yeah. So in this bowl of 4 cups of warm water is 1 tablespoon of sugar, and either 4 packets of yeast or 3 tablespoons of yeast. And just, really get those clumps out of the yeast, because we want that to be beautifully proofed. Let's keep mixing it.
Sorry, Brooke, I came a little bit late. I'm so sorry, but I've got my 3 tablespoons of yeast. And did you say 4 things of water?
Yeah, 4 cups of water and 1 tablespoon of sugar.
Okay.
And warm water. That's essential. Okay. So right now your yeast mixture should be very liquidy, nothing, no bubbles, things like that. That's totally normal. I'll show you here. This is what it looks like, just a bowl of liquid. Okay. I'll give everyone time. You let me know when you're done with that. Or I guess you're all on mute. You're not going to let me know. Mom, how am I doing? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Oh, okay. Okay. So while everyone's doing this, now is when I'll share some words of Torah. Okay. Oh, so just before I start, also, just to say my things with Challah is that before we moved here to La Jolla, My challah was bad. I mean, I got compliments on it, but I think people were just lying or just like trying to be nice to me, but it was bad. And like I said, my mother, my mother-in-law, my sister all make amazing, amazing challah. So I felt like it was like sacrilegious to move here and become a Rebbitzin and like have bad challah. So I really worked on it, and I feel that now I can confidently say that my challah is good. So I don't actually think it's in the recipe. I think you could have, I don't even know how many recipes are out there. I have made one recipe that I didn't like the taste, but I really truly believe that it's in the technique. And I think it's in like the little things of like having the water be warm for your yeast and how long you let it rise. I let mine rise for about 10 to 11 hours actually, which I know that's like crazy for some people. I also only do by hand because I feel like once I'm doing the act of challah, like I might as well be able to freeze it and things like that. And the other thing is, I do not braid my challah. We're actually going to have Nicole Eichner at the end show us some fun ways to braid or do stuff to your challah to dress it up. But I do not braid my challah. What I do is I make balls. And so let's say if I'm using like an oval shaped pan, I put it diagonal. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's just like a zigzag. And then after it rises and bakes, it comes together and looks like a braid. Because I just don't have patience for braiding all my challahs, or I do pull apart. So that's just a little bit about the challah, and it's in the baking, which we'll get to at the end, how long you bake, things like that. Got to find the right medium between overbaked and underbaked, because either are just not good. Okay, so challah. Why did I choose this to be our first Baking with Brooke segment? So we are going to discuss now just the significance of the mitzvah of separating challah. So number one, where does that challah bread, that name even come from? So because the bread made by a Jew needs to have a portion separated and given to the Kohen. So of course, when the Beis HaMikdash stood, and that separated portion is referred to by the Torah as challah. So obviously now, unfortunately, being that we don't have the Beis HaMikdash today and can't give it to the Kohen, so we, separate a portion, wrap it up in tin foil. I set my oven to 450 degrees, and you let it sit there for about 30 minutes and just let it burn to a crisp, and then that's it. Once it's done, you throw it out, you forget about it. But that is our, symbolic to what when the Beis HaMikdash stood, what they gave to the Kohanim. So it's also important to point out that like a nice idea and pattern related to when the mitzvah was given and referenced to in the Torah and Nevi'im, actually, prophets. So just before the Jews went into the land of Israel the first time, or at least when they were supposed to go in for the first time, so it was right after the Meraglim, spies, scouts, whatever, they came to give their blasphemous report about the land of Israel. So what did Hashem do? He punished us that we would have to wander in the desert, the wilderness, for a full 40 years before being allowed to enter into the land. So in that, and now in the Torah, when it says in that context, at that moment, is when the Torah teaches us that when we bake, we take a portion of the dough as the challah for the Kohanim. Okay, interesting. And now another place that we find this mitzvah to separate challah is in the context of conquering the land of Israel. So when Ezra was leading the, charge of about 40,000 Jews to return to Israel, to the homeland, after being in Galus, in exile, and this was following the destruction of the first Beis HaMikdash. So the Navi tells us in that context, right then, of coming home to Israel, that we're told of the importance to separate the challah for the Kohanim. So now, to appreciate this pattern, it's helpful to understand, so what is so special about this mitzvah of challah? Like, why has this mitzvah been something cherished by us, by women? And what does this mitzvah represent? So to sum it up in one word is thoughtfulness. But because I'm giving a Dvar Torah, I'm not going to stop there. But let's delve deeper into that. So the challah represents the thoughtfulness that the Jews are supposed to have for one another. By giving a portion of your most basic form of sustenance, bread, to the Kohanim, you're telling them, I care for you and I want to be there for you. Thoughtfulness. So Rav Dessler, and if this was my husband giving the shiur, he'd go into where he was born, what his birthday is, favorite color, yeshiva he went into, but he's the historian, I'm not. So just, you could ask him after who Rav Dessler was. But Rav Dessler, who I actually in seminary, I took a class on someone with my teacher at that point. He wrote a whole sefer on Rav Dessler. But anyways, so he points out something amazing regarding the root of love. So in reality, how love is fostered. So Rav Dessler notes that the Hebrew word for love, as we know, is ahava. And what's the root of ahava? Have, and that means to give. So essentially what Rav Dessler is saying is if one's interested in fostering meaningful relationships, what do you have to do? You give. What you put in is what you get. And the more giving that you the more giving that you do, that'll help with creating that love between people. So this idea that Rav Dessler has shared many times, and at many different life cycle events also, this idea has been shared, especially if you haven't been to a Sheva Brachos with me and my husband. That's why you probably never heard it. But well, what needs to be clarified, though, is, so what type of giving is this? Is it me going to Target and every time I go to buy formula and soap, I bring back a Barbie for my kids? Obviously not. But what's going to create this everlasting love and bond between us? And it's also like, it's not just, take a high, whatever ranking relationship in your life. It's really also, we're talking about like the most fundamental, basic relationships that you have. Relationships will only be fostered with giving. And, what kind of giving can we do to create that love that we're all looking for in relationships? So maybe it's just something simple as supporting in the most basic way, or just simply being there for another person and how they need, and then that can foster the love. And especially now during these trying and unprecedented times, due to the pandemic, many of us are looking for ways to help. For example, when this first started, it was amazing. People right away wanted to create a WhatsApp for our little community here, which is also very big, just to help in any way. So we set up a WhatsApp, and it wasn't like, it was only a few people, but somehow word got out, and this person would text this person, and somehow it would get out, and, oh, I need someone to go to Costco. I need someone to go to Rouse. It was Bela Ertel that was in charge of basically setting people up with who can run the errands and whatever. And it was amazing. And we're still doing it. But of course, unfortunately, we're limited in how we can help and practically. So, because of social distancing, staying home, things like that. But we still want to be there for one another. So how do we do it? How can we continue to be a community anchored on chesed when we're physically apart, like now? So that's when Challah comes in. So Challah teaches us that there doesn't need to be a very creative way to help. You just give of yourself in the most basic way. Just be there for another, supporting one another. It's presence with a C, not with a TS, but virtual presence also now. And of course, another form of being there for someone is through prayer, like what we're doing tonight. It's thoughtfulness, really, and it's just a simple meaning. So before going into the land of Israel, each time Hashem reminds us that this is how we hold on to the Jewish homeland, to Israel, to Jerusalem, the Beis HaMikdash, by really supporting one another. And right now for the Jewish people, as we all know, it's a period of communal mourning, also known as the 9 days, which we started last night. And it's because we weren't there for one another. We didn't care about one another. So now's the time. Now, the 9 days, we don't eat lavish meals. We don't take hot showers. We don't do things. We don't go to concerts, cut our hair, things like that, is so that we can really focus on caring about one another and to really rectify that mistake that we made. And especially now, of course, it would not go unmentioned that with a very heavy heart we had in our community, experiencing tragedy of just unspeakable proportions, the loss of two dear friends, Jamin Eisman and Dov Borak, our friends, our neighbors, our families. We as a community, we have a responsibility to support our dear friends. And I am blown away by the amount of people that have reached out to me. I know that there are people that have reached out to other people, and it's just a domino effect of everyone that wants to help right now with these families. And it's really about separating ourselves, just like the challah, to give ourselves to them, be there for them as much as we can to help fill their void. So let's have them and all of Klal Yisrael in mind tonight as we separate our challah, which we're going to do later. And it's really just, again, just reiterating, showing us the importance of giving of ourselves in the utmost basic way. Alrighty. So now we are going to do the challah. Now's the time. Okay, we're going to do the dough. At this time, I like to have gloves on. I have sensory issues. I don't like to get messy and things like that. I don't like the feeling of food. So let's get our gloves. But there has been a shortage, so I haven't been using my gloves as much, which has been hard for me. Just kidding. Okay, so this is what we're gonna get. Hopefully everyone's, okay, I'm gonna show you very delicately. Hold on one second. If I could, I don't know if you could see, one second, it's a little hard because of the lighting. But just to show you, this is my yeast that has been proofed. So it looks like you could tell, it doesn't look liquidy anymore. It's like a nice like dome-like almost, which means we are ready to go. I hope everyone's yeast is, if anyone has a question, just unmute yourself. If you want to show me your yeast, but I would imagine at this point, it's been basically 15 or has been 20 minutes. Yeah, about like 15, 20 minutes that,
Question.
yeah.
I stirred mine in the middle, so it's a little watery underneath.
Why did you stir it? I'm just kidding.
Is it okay, or do we need to like wait, or?
Who wants? It's fine. I'm sure you'll be fine. Don't worry. It's gonna taste great. You got this.
Oh,
Okay.
you can't leave us.
What?
Nicole can't leave us.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so now what everyone's gonna do is, yeah.
This is my yeast. I guess I didn't hear this, don't stir it, but I don't know.
It's totally fine. I didn't say it because I do it so by rote. Let me just see. So just,
I mean, it's just the water and the yeast and the sugar, right?
yeah, yeast, the water, and the sugar, correct, yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Okay.
I usually do stir mine, and mine usually turns out fine. So I'm not sure that the stirring, unless somebody else weigh in, but I've stirred it many times.
Oh, really? Okay, fine. So it's gonna be
As
great.
long as you don't kill it. As long as you don't kill it with too hot water, it's probably going to be
Okay.
It'll be fine. Don't worry. I've done a lot of things that Felicia didn't have faith in the Boys and Girls Club, and they always worked out. Okay. All right. So now, everyone, get your. I don't normally buy organic because it's much more expensive, but Rouse is limited. Okay. Get your 5-pound bag of flour, and we're gonna just. And here's my big flour bowl, and we're gonna dump it into the bowl.
How many cups? How many cups? 8 plus.
I think, one second, hold on. We're looking it up, one second.
Because I didn't get a 5-pound bag.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, I have a 25-pound bag.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you always use all-purpose flour or bread flour?
First,
Gather.
okay, 5 pounds. I've seen like between 19 and 20 cups of flour. So, maybe do like 19 and a half.
No. 9?
How many cups? 10 cups?
19 sounds right.
I don't know. We're hearing.
My mom's
No.
question. Literally, we should do the whole bag of 5 pounds.
Yeah. Put the whole bag of flour in this bowl.
So how many cups? 5 pounds? 19.
So we're looking up cups. I mean, I think that
On the
1
chat, it's
pound-
19 to 20. 19 to 20 on the chat.
Lisa says it's 20.
Yep. I do.
Gavin did for this, and he said it's about 17 cups.
Okay, 17. Let's do 17.
4 cups is 1 pound.
Or-
I measured mine 4 cups. So you want 5 pounds, it's about 20 cups. You're right.
Okay, at least it was my sister. I think
That
that's-
makes a lot of color.
That's a lot of color.
yeah, it's a lot. I make I make challah about, I mean, when we were hosting, it was more frequently, but I make about every like 3 to 4 weeks. So it's not, I don't make it, I make it and then freeze it. I have the pleasure of bringing it over to people like that.
So do you put it straight in? Do you put your 19, 20 cups in?
Yeah, so all your flour should go in a big bowl. This is a mama-sized bowl that I have. I think I actually got it when I moved here from Ralph's. Okay, we're gonna start with all of our dry ingredients. So now you're gonna take your 2 cups of water.
Just hold on, won't you slow down? I don't put the flour into my yeast mixture. I put the flour into a new bowl.
Correct. Yeah, the yeast mixture is in a separate bowl. That was the medium bowl. And then you take your large bowl.
Oh, I better go get one. Hold on.
Okay. And then, so make sure everyone, while we're waiting, you're going to make sure you have your flour, 2 cups of sugar, 1.5 tablespoons of salt.
Just be great.
And I'm just dumping it all.
You've got the sugar and the salt into the flour.
Into the flour, correct. But don't do anything yet. We're going to wait. Hold on.
Just hold on, won't you tell me? So it's 20 cups of flour and?
2 cups of sugar.
Okay.
What? Someone said. And now all I'm doing is I do it by hand. I'm just mixing the dry ingredients together. So I'm doing, so now I'm just mixing the flour, the sugar, and the salt.
And it's 1.5 tablespoons, you said? How much salt?
1.5 tablespoons of salt and 2 cups sugar. So now everything to be together.
Wait.
I'm waiting. Janet, I thought that you read this book, that you're supposed to be a pro. Just kidding.
I am, but it's a different recipe.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so salt, flour, and sugar in one big bowl, which if you can see my bowl, I don't think my bowl's big enough. I've never made
I know, I had to go get a big bowl. How much salt again?
1.5
Wait, look at it. This is my bowl. How am I going to fit anything else in?
So you'll see, because when you get the dough, like once we put all the ingredients together, it shrinks. So then you don't, but then it's going to
Should I
rise.
divide it into 2 bowls?
No,
Maybe?
I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm nervous. Because then like the ratios are messed up. I don't know.
1.5 tablespoons of salt?
Correct. And 2 cups sugar.
Okay, I've done that.
Okay, perfect. And now,
I can always add dough and flour if it's not enough, right?
but I wouldn't suggest it because then it gets dry. Like
Okay,
I
but
don't add, like this is also another tip. I do not use extra flour when I'm like, so again, like I said, I don't braid it. It could be when you braid it, you need to do it, but I do not add flour at that step. I think that was also part of my problem, is that then there's way too much excess flour, and now we're talking like dry and okay. So we're gonna move on to the next step, which is creating a well in between your dry ingredients now, okay? So just you just not huge, but just push your dry ingredients in the middle to make a well, and I'll show you what that looks like.
So I didn't hear you. Do you do bread flour or all-purpose flour?
Personally, I use bread flour. I throw out the
I have. That's what I thought.
I mean, I would imagine regular flour might be fine. I don't know.
No, I used to use all-purpose flour and it was fine, but I just happened to have gotten bread flour lately.
Sorry, Brooke, can you show the picture of the well again?
Yeah.
Show.
Hold on. I know the lighting is not so great.
Okay, so like a big hole in the middle?
Yeah. So it just like that little shape in the middle, that's the bottom of my bowl. Okay. So now, is everyone okay to move on to the next step? Okay. What? Sorry. Okay, we're gonna move on. Okay. So now, just gonna show you what a very I'm going to show you what a very good proofed yeast looks like. Voila. Okay, so that's what it looks like. This has very much the proofed. It is a dome. It is whatever you want to call it. Looks like it's got like a okay. But again, the stirring, I think Pam mentioned that stirring is fine for her. She's done that in the past, so just go with it. It's going to be great. The two things you also want to remember about your challah. If your challah's cold, if you're cold, your challah's cold, and it won't rise well. And if you're upset, your challah's upset, and it'll come out. Okay? So you don't be nervous. Like my sister, not the one that's on here, she like can't make challah for the life of her. And I always tell her, it's because you're stressed out. Just don't be stressed. Just like, always throw it down and buy challah. But just have calm and serenity and peace while we're doing this. Okay, so now we're going to take our wet. Yes, Claire.
Everybody, there's a lot of.
Oh, mute it. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. So now we're combining our wet ingredients with our dry ingredients. Okay. So it doesn't matter what order you do it. I'm just pouring in the yeast first, right into the center, into the well. I've got my 1.5 cups of oil. Personally, I use avocado oil just because it's mild tasting, but I don't know. I use vegetable oil, but for all the health people, maybe they don't like vegetable oil. Okay. That's your 1.5 cups of oil, and then 5 eggs. I have done it with 4 eggs because I literally only had 4 eggs one time in my house, and it was totally fine. But whatever, I normally do 5. Okay.
What if my well is overflowing?
Yeah, that's totally great. You're going to get into it now. So now is when, if you prefer to wear gloves, put on your gloves now, because this is I think why, and Mom and my sister, you guys can speak up because they only use a bread machine. I think this is why they don't like this part. But really with gloves, I think it's not messy, because then that's it. Once I'm done, I'm done. But I won't really be able to unmute or touch the computer right now once I start doing this. So if you have any questions, just unmute yourself, ask away. But now is when you just want to really mix everything. Your dough is going to be ugly at this point. Like it's going to look like bumpy, lumpy, whatever. It's fine. As it rises, as you punch it down, things like that, it'll become much smoother and prettier. Also, what I want to say is, because it is way too late for me to bake at night, feel free to put your dough in the fridge. You could cover it, maybe like put it on top of like parchment paper just in case it overflows, and bake it tomorrow. I'm definitely baking mine tomorrow. No plan on baking it tonight. And like I said in the beginning, I personally like to let my challah rise for about 10 hours. I know many people don't do it for that long, but I would highly recommend, if you don't want to bake tonight, feel free not to. All right, so we are getting,
you leave it at the refrigerator rising for 10 hours?
No. At home, it's in like outside. Meaning because I usually put it up at like 7 a.m. and then I usually have like the first 3 challahs in the oven by like 6 p.m.
Wow, and the yeast stays? They don't flatten out?
No.
That's impressive. That yeast will stay that long.
Yeah. Okay. No, but again, outside in the fridge.
Brooke, but you're gonna leave it through the night rising outside of the room.
No. So sorry, to clarify. Normally, I let it rise on the counter, and I cover it with saran wrap and a towel, just because the dark is better. But tonight, because I don't want to bake it tonight, I'm gonna just let it rise in the fridge, because it'll still rise in the fridge. And then I'll probably let it rise even a little bit longer once I put it in the pan before I bake it. Just a heads up.
Can I just recommend that if you are leaving it in your refrigerator overnight, you should let it come to room temperature for like an hour or 2 before you start braiding it.
Yes, thank you. That was my sister Lisa, everyone. Thank you. She's a challah maven herself. Okay. So now this is also where I count in my monthly workout is by doing this. So if your arms are starting to hurt, that's a good thing. That means your dough is really coming together. and just keep going, because you want every single thing to be incorporated. All the ingredients should be incorporated together. And also make sure that you, your dough, you can pick up your dough with 2 hands, meaning that the whole dough comes together. And also important to do that because you want to make sure you got all the flour. So right now what I just did, I wish you could see. You know what, let me, hold on. So this is what my gloves look like. Okay, so this is what my dough currently looks like. It's definitely not all incorporated yet. Still have a ways to go. So what I usually do is I'll flip it at this point. So now look at all that flour that was under there hiding, and I mix it, I punch it down more, knead it together, and then I'm gonna flip it one more time. And lots of flour still is not incorporated, so you're gonna just keep doing that until it's really all together and incorporated nicely. And again, it's not gonna be smooth. This is not what the end result's gonna look like. This is just, it's a process. Trust the process. And now, okay, so just because of time, I'm looking at, I wanted to also now recite 1 parak of Tehillim to continue our, night of Chizzuk, to definitely have in mind L'iloi Nishmas Yosef Aaron ben Clominus, also known as Jamin Eisman, and Dov Borak, who I apologize, I don't have his name offhand right now. And this is the time, David Hill ben Shmuel, and later we're going to say after the hafresha, after the separating, we're going to say a hiratzon, and that's also a time when you have in mind anything from parnasa, livelihood, health, this pandemic. People that don't have children should have children. People that aren't married yet should get married. Mashiach should come. Whatever you want in mind, whatever you are personally dealing with, you kind of can use the Challah to focus that energy, that the things that you are davening for, or for others.
Brooke?
Yeah.
Brooke? Oh, I just found out that another shul member as Loretta Levi's father passed away.
Oh, MS. I'm so sorry.
Okay. So maybe we can just think of him as well.
You happen to know his name? It's okay if you don't.
I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. God still knows even, who we're talking about. Okay, so back to Challah for a second. I just want to show you now. Okay, this is my dough. It's not pretty, but I can lift the whole thing. There is not a single piece of flour. That's just, like the residue, whatever. There's not a single piece of flour under the dough. And that's it. Now I leave it, I cover it. Well, not yet, sorry, don't cover it because we didn't separate yet. But now's the time. One second, so now I'm gonna just remove my gloves. Okay, so for now, everyone should, now is when I would preheat your oven to 450.
Brooke, I have a question. Is the dough quite sticky?
Very sticky. Part of the reason that I use gloves. Yes. Yeah, but don't add flour. Okay? Do not add flour.
Brooke?
Yes.
I've never ever seen anything that looks so disastrous as this. Look at it. I mean, there's still so much flour, and it's so dry and crummy.
I'm so sorry, Cheryl.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, I would just keep mixing.
Can I add some water, some oil?
No, why don't you maybe take it out of the bowl and just do it on the surface. If the surface is clean, maybe just put it on your counter.
Okay, but I mean, I've never seen anything so pathetic as this.
Cheryl, I think it should have been 17 cups, not 20. I'm also doing it on the counter now. It's too dry.
Okay. No, but okay, it's way too dry.
Good. Yours looks good. Okay. All right. So Okay, you guys, you got this. Okay, I have a lot of faith in your challah. Okay, I'm gonna preheat my oven now. So this
So Brooke, is that as much need? Is that as much kneading as we do? We don't need any more once it's all incorporated?
Correct. Meaning this is what my dough looks like.
Can I show you?
No, mine is much too dry.
Oh, yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, I think mine's all together. So
Rukowski's, Moeds, that's gorgeous. Let me see. I'm going to go to the next screen.
I mean, this is just not working.
Cheryl, it's too much flour.
Way too much flour. I put way too much flour.
Guys, I'm so sorry. That's why I don't trust it, and I just buy. I know it's a little bit more expensive to buy just a bag of 5-pound flour, but I don't want that. So that's why I do that. Okay, so just moving on. For a minute, did everyone preheat their oven? Because this is for the hafrasha now. The burning that we're doing. Okay. Alrighty.
Won't you tell me preheat the oven to what?
I do 450 personally.
But why are we doing it in the oven now? We're not.
No, this is the separating. So now what we're doing is the actual. Well, first we're going to say some Tehillim, but we're just doing the actual separating of challah. So also I would recommend getting a piece of tin foil.
Oh, so you're gonna burn it now, but I can burn it tomorrow when I bake my challah.
Yeah, you don't have to do it now, but I figured we could all do it together. So we're saying,
okay,
Bracha. So let's just do it now. Why not?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So. Oh wait, 1 second. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to screen share. We're going to read one parak of Tehillim, chapter 121 or Kuf Chaf Aleph in Hebrew, and we're actually going to hear it in 4 different languages. We're going to do Lashon HaKodesh. We're going to do Hebrew. Then we're going to hear in Spanish from Janet Klein. Is Janet Klein on here? I feel like I didn't see her. Janet Klein. Oh, is that you? Maybe JK18. If not, Karen Braziner, you could help us out.
Thank you.
Okay, is that you? Did I hear you?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Oh, hi, Janet. Okay, so we're going to hear from Janet, who's going to do Spanish. Then we're going to hear from Deborah Topper, who's going to read it in Russian. Then we're going to hear from Aisha Schuster, who's going to do it in English. And then I'll just do like a little bit of the halacha.
This is not working, my color. Can you ask the boys to come help me, please?
Okay, then we're going to I'll just give you like a few halachos of like the actual practical laws of the separating of the challah, and then we're going to say the bracha together again. This is your time to put all your energy of things that you're davening for, whether it's for yourself, for others, and really have that in mind before we say the bracha. Okay, so I'm going to screen share the parak of Tehillim, and feel free to share it to say it along with everyone, or with me, or whoever's reading. Okay. Okay, share 1 second. Okay. Oh no. Wait, what are you guys looking at right now?
We see the Tehillim.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So I'm gonna so Shir Lamalos Esayanai El HaHarim Me'ayin Yabo Ezri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shemayim Va'aretz Al Yitin Lamut Raglecha Al Yanim Shomrecha Hinei Lo Yanom V'Lo Yishan Shomer Yisrael Adonai Shomrecha Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Yaminacha Yomam HaShemesh Lo Yakeka V'Yareach B'Layla Adonai Yishmorcha Mikol Ra Yishmor et nafshecha, Adonai yishmor tzidcha, abuecha, me'ata v'ad olam. So now we're going to hear from Janet, please, in Spanish. Stop share. Okay, and I will spotlight you 1 second. Hold on.
I'm sorry, my screen moved to other places.
Right.
So this is a translation that I actually found from Chabad, Danish. So I'm glad because all the other ones were like, you know, more from a Christian point of view.
Oh.
Okay, so dice, canción para las ascensiones. Alzo mis ojos a las montañas. ¿De dónde vendrá mi ayuda? Mi ayuda vendrá de Hashem, hacedor del cielo y la tierra. Él no permitirá que resbale tu pie. Tu guardián no dormita. En verdad, el guardián de Israel no dormita ni duerme. Hashem es tu guardián. Hashem es tu sombra protectora a tu diestra. El sol no te dañará de día, ni la luna de noche. Hashem te guardará de todo mal. Él guardará tu alma. Hashem cuidará tu ida y tu venida desde ahora y para siempre.
Thank you. And now we're going to, I said Russian. Okay,
Yeah.
Deborah, there you are. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, there you are.
Поднимаю глаза к горам, откуда придет помощь мне? Помощь мне от Господа, створившего небо и землю. Он не даст колебаться ноге твоей, не дремлет стража, ведь не дремлет, не спит стража Израиля. Господь и страж твой, Господь сень твой, у правой руки твоей не будет разить тебя солнце днем, луна ночью. Господь сохранит тебя от всякого зла, сохранит душу твою. Господь будет охранять выход и вход твой отныне вовеки.
Thank you. Okay, and then next we're going to do Aisha in English. Let me just go back. Where are
I
you?
also have the Chabad translation, Janet.
Okay.
Okay. A song of ascents. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help will come from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot falter. Your guardian does not slumber. Indeed, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. The Lord is your protective shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. He will guard your soul. The Lord will guard your going and your coming from now and for all time.
Thank you so much, guys, everyone. Okay, so now that we have gotten into the right mindset, you know, we said the message before, what separating could mean and symbolize of separating the challah, separating ourselves, being there for one another. This is the time to be there for one another, to have in mind, everyone, including yourself, who needs some tefillah. Everyone could use tefillah. So now's the time. So what we're going to do is, you know what? I'm going to just talk a little bit about the halachos. So the reason that we're able to take, if someone's making dough from one of the 5 grains, so that's wheat, barley, spelt, oats, rye. So they, and if they use more than 2.64 pounds, you can separate a small piece. The bracha, though, only gets, if the saying the bracha, though, is only if you separate more than 4.95 pounds of flour, according to the Chazon Ish, which is the general custom and the opinion that I follow from my husband in our home. Some opinions are more lenient, as like converting like the Talmudic measures to modern day measurements. So again, it's not like an exact science. Rabbi Chaim Na'eh, I think that's how you pronounce the last name, he permits the bracha to be said over 3.66 pounds. You could also rely on this as well. And some Sfardim, I don't know if there's any Sfardim besides for me on this, who follow the Ben Ish Chai will only make a bracha when using 5.47 pounds. So again, I do the minimum of 4.95 pounds of flour. But again, you know, just ask your local Orthodox rabbi. And okay, you can always, in this case, I guess is my husband. Okay. All right. So now we are going to, what I do is I actually, like, I pick a spot on my dough, and that's where I kind of like put my mindset of, okay, this is the section that I'm going to take up. The amount that you're taking is about a fistful, okay? And then we're going to say the bracha, you're going to separate it, this amount, and then you put it straight into the tin foil, and then that goes straight into the oven. I don't know if everyone's ovens have preheated at this point, but that's what we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to say the bracha out loud together, There's different opinions also, by the way, if some add min ha'isa at the end. I just realized that I didn't get the actual bracha on my computer to do a screen share, so I apologize. So you can just, I'll say it slowly and you can repeat after me. And the hiratzon for challah, I don't see right now. So I'm just gonna, okay, my husband will get it. Okay, so now's the time. So we're gonna just, I'm gonna pick my place in mind. I'm actually gonna, like I said, I have sensory issues. I'm putting on another pair of gloves because I don't even want to touch the dough to do the separating. But, so I've got my mindset, I got who I'm davening for and everything. You're going to designate the area on your dough that you're taking of. And again, you're going to take about the fistful. Thank you. And then just pop it into the tinfoil. Okay. So you're going to say the bracha first, then you separate. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hafresh challah min ha'isa. And voila, as I was putting in, it was actually preheated. Okay, and now I'm going to say the hiratzon. Yehiratzon l'fanecha Adonai Eloheinu b'lei avotinu shibaneh beit hamikdash b'mher b'yameinu v'tei chalkeinu b'toratecha v'sham na'avtecha b'yirah kimei olam u'chshanim kadmoniot v'arval Adonai menchat Yehudai Yerushalayim kimei olam u'chshanim kadmoniot. Okay, so that's it. Oh, so now actually, sorry, we're going to I'm going to spotlight Nicole Eichner. Where are you? One second. Where are you, Nicole? Oh, there you are. Okay. So here, can you here? I'll mute you. And oh, sorry. Okay.
So how long? Sorry, how long are we leaving the hafreshet challah in the oven?
So I would say about 30 minutes. I mean, if like it starts to really smell smoky in your house before 30 minutes, then check on it. But for the most part, mine is usually in for about 30 minutes. The point is that it has to be like burnt to a crisp, inedible, and whatever. Like really, it's a burnt. It's burnt. That's as good.
Hard. Okay, thanks.
Okay, and it's very hot when you take it out, so just careful. Okay, so what Nicole's going to do is, as you know, she sells challah, or as some of you may not know, but she does sell challah. So she's going to show us how to do a filling. So I freaked her out by once when Abby was here, her sister, and I said, oh, I don't think, because we're Sephardi, so I said, oh, we actually don't make hamotzi when it has a filling. So her face turned white, and then Nicole frantically texted my husband to find out. But all of you Ashkenazim are totally good to use this challah as your lechem mishnah on Shabbos. We as Sephardim, it's actually mizonos for us. But otherwise, you are good to go to use this delicious filling that she's going to tell us about. And enjoy. Thank you, Nicole.
Hi. Okay. So the challah really isn't ready to be filled or baked right now, but I could still show you and you could do it later on. So what I do is I separate the dough into as if you were going to make a braided challah. So three balls. I do it about this size, and they rise to a solid size challah. And then I roll it. Here, let me do it like this. Okay, so I roll it out a little bit on the counter, and then I use a rolling pin to roll out the dough, so it widens enough that you can fill the center with any toppings you like. The fan favorite in my house is a cinnamon sugar mixture, which uses oil, brown sugar, cinnamon, and salt. And I can make it now, and feel free to write it down or do it as well. So you'll need a little bit of salt, some brown sugar, oil, and cinnamon. So you use 1/3 of a cup of oil. Keep in mind, this makes more than 1 challah. This filling will make more than 1 challah. So I use 1/3 of a cup of oil. Um, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. And I do a little pinch of salt. And 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. So here's 1.5. And then you basically mix it together to make a mixture that will come out like a paste. And what I do is I fill the center of the challah and then roll it inside of all 3 and then braid those 3 rolls. So when you put them on the challah, I use my hands and I spread it here like this. And then I would roll, so you can see there's a fair amount of cinnamon. And in the oven, the cinnamon will also melt. And I roll it like this to make kind of like a Cinnabon-esque. So you can see inside when it bakes, it will be layered. And I do this for 3 rolls, and then I braid them and put them in the oven to bake. So yeah.
Wow, that looks amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Really appreciate it.
Nicole, how do you put a sugar topping?
Which one?
With the clumps of the clumps of sugar.
So that's a separate topping that I could also do that one. So that one is that uses vanilla extract, oil. I have to see the recipe exactly, but I could send out a list of like ideas for toppings.
Oh, perfect. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Can I ask a question? Nicole, do you put any sugar on top afterwards?
For the cinnamon one? No, the cinnamon one bakes, but you have to bake it in a tin or something that has edges, because the cinnamon will leak, like the mixture will leak out and then fall into the bottom of the oven and burn. So you have to have something to like keep it in, and the bottom of the challah will be a little like sticky, like not a little, very sticky, because of the mixture of the cinnamon and sugar.
That sounds divine.
And can you make it into buns? Can you make it into buns like Brooke does?
Can I make, you can, yeah. I would just, I would spread the roll like this. I would put cinnamon inside like this, and then close it like this to make kind of like a ball, and then put them around in like a circle or an arrangement.
Good question. That was a good question. Okay, that was awesome, Nicole. Thank you. So like you said, by the way, about the emailing out the recipes. So what I'm going to do also, because these next steps that I'm going to say, I'm sure will sound overwhelming and people will forget. So the next steps that you're going to do is really it's up to you what you want to do. Either you could just leave it and leave it overnight, cover it with saran wrap and a towel or whatever. I would put it on either tin foil or parchment paper, just because in case it does bloom over the bowl or whatever. But either way, the next step is the baking. So I'm gonna type this up, and you'll get, I know we don't want to do too many emails, but I'll post it on the Facebook page of the shul, or you could text me after, whatever you want, just that no one's inundated with information. But what we'll do is, so the baking. So if someone wants to write it down, also how I do it is that I, so once it's risen, it rose and whatever, you know, all the steps are done. You did your hafrasha, everything. So now it's the baking. So like I said earlier, I make balls. I use either an oval tin or I use a round tin. You can, like a pull apart almost. That's how I do it. With a pull apart, I make it, it's 6 balls and then a 7th in the center.
Can you show us the size of the tin that you use when you use a rectangle one? Is it like a regular loaf tin, or is it something bigger?
Meaning the oval one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do aluminum. Sorry, Mom. She doesn't that I use disposable. But I use disposable tins, and I guess something I should invest in one day. But my husband's gonna get it for me. So either it's, honestly, I've ordered all the wrong sizes that ended up being great. Like now that we're not hosting right now, I do actually these like baby small ones, because me and my husband are trying to watch what we eat. So this way we're not tempted to like eat the whole thing. So we kind of just eat what we have to eat halachically, and then that's it. I remove it from the table. So it is small. So that's the other thing. It's whatever size you want to do. But I would say when baking it, when like prepping it into the tins, make sure that your challahs, like your dough, whatever, if you're doing a braid, whatever, make sure that it's all similar sizing. Because think about it, like if you have a massive braid and then a massive ball, then like a medium ball and then a small one, like now it's not baking evenly, things like that. So just keep that in mind. This is what I use. Thank you. This is a round tin that I often use. It looks bigger on the screen, but it's actually much smaller.
Let's hold it that way so we can see the depth. I just want to see the depth. Oh, it's okay. All right. Perfect.
So what I do is that, so make sure you pan it, and then I do 6 and then a 7th one right here. The 7th one in the middle is the smallest one, just because, you know, it's, whatever, you know, it's like hard to bake. It's the hour. I'm forgetting my words right now. But I just make sure that center one is smaller. Then, you know, usually I make about, I mean, it just depends on the sizes, but I would say about like 8 regular size challahs. Usually I'm good with 1 egg to, you know, whisk it, and then to egg wash the dough. And then topping, in our house, again, because we're Sephardi, we can't have anything sweet. It doesn't count for us for lechem mishnah. So, and my husband prefers plain, and I prefer the everything, which either you can make by yourself, or I have from here, Costco. Costco sells this. It's cheap. Here, it's cheaper, and I got it from the Costco in Marina. Or you could get the levers in Ralph's. It's on the top shelf, like right next, like top right of like the balsamic vinegars, the red wine, like all the vinegars area, like where the sprinkles are, things like that. I think it's $5.99 for, I don't know how much, and I think this is a slightly bigger. So, and I don't know, but anyways. Okay, so that's what I do. So you egg wash it, put whatever toppings. Nicole will get us the recipe. You could do sweet toppings, you could do plain, you could do, I remember I once had at Shashi's house, I think it was, Felicia, you might be better to tell me. I think it was like, za'atar. Yeah, my husband really liked that. It was like a za'atar, so we can ask her for that recipe. And otherwise, okay, now the baking. Okay, so I learned this technique from my mom. I don't really get it, but like whatever, I just do it. But I put my oven on 350. So if you bake your challahs directly after your hafrasha, which by the way, don't bake your challah at the same time as your hafrasha, as the separated dough, don't bake that at the same time. Let the hafrasha be done. You take it out carefully because it's extremely hot, and then you get ready to bake your challah separately. So when and also because think about it, your challah, your dough, your separated dough has to be on 450. You do not want to bake your challah on 450 degrees. So that would butcher it. So you want to let your oven cool down, then you put it on 350, and I do it for 12 minutes. And I once had my father-in-law actually, and I wrote down the directions and I was like, please don't mess this up. The challah will be bad. So it was 12 minutes. Then I turn it 180 degrees and then another 9 to 10, depending on the size. So smaller challah, usually about 9 minutes. So like, it's not a long time. It's altogether, that's 21 minutes. I don't know. I know some people do longer, some people do shorter. Some people don't turn it at all, and they say 30 minutes. I've also seen like, on like a kinneret, like the pre-made. So I think theirs is on like 325 for 30 minutes. So I guess, the slower, whatever, you could do something like that. But I like to do 350, 12 minutes, flip it 180, and do another 9 to 10 minutes. And then that's it. You should be good. Also, I highly recommend warming it up at your Shabbos meal if you have a hot plate on, things like that. And then leftovers Sunday morning for French toast. So thank you so much for coming and attending. I'm going to unmute everyone now. Really, really appreciate it. And I hope to do more of these more often. And send your pictures of your challah once you bake it, whether you're going to do it tonight or tomorrow. Wait, how do I unmute everyone? Once you bake it, and then Catherine can post it on our Facebook feed page, whatever.
Please email the recipe.
Okay, so the actual recipe is in the original email with the flyer,
okay.
Catherine. But what I'll do again, I'll type out, I'll put it together, the actual ingredients with the baking instructions.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Will you add and you'll add Nicole's recipes too?
Yes, I'm gonna wait for her to.
I'll send them to her. This is what the challah looks like after it's braided.
Oh, beautiful.
There's stuff coming out, but that's okay.
Oh, yum! Like oozing out. Like what could be bad? Something oozes, Amazing. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it, and it was really.
Thank you, Brooke.
That's great. Can I ask you 2 questions about separating?
Yeah.
So I've lived in different communities and seen different ways, and I'm just wondering if this is your way, that's the only way. Cover it in tin foil, or can you bake it uncovered? I've heard other places that say you have to open flame, and other people say that it's actually disrespectful to burn it and to dust it and put it in the garbage.
Yeah, that's what I.
According to my husband, who, if anyone wants, can make a cameo because he's here. According to him, you have to burn it.
You have to burn it, but it can be baked to burn. It doesn't have to be on an open flame.
Oh yeah, no, mine's directly in my oven. And I think I've seen where it's uncovered, but I don't know. I feel like it would burn as in like start a fire easily. I don't know.
Rabbi Wogelenter told me I must cover it and just throw it away carefully after it's burned.
What? Sarah, say it again.
Rabbi Wogelenter told me to cover it in foil and to throw it away carefully after it's burned.
Yeah, so that's what I do. Yeah.
The bread rise again when it's braided?
Say it again, sorry.
You don't let your bread rise again once you've braided it or put it in your container?
So I do, and like my sister pointed out, that if you're going to leave your dough in the fridge, to let it get to room temperature before cooking it, baking it. But what I normally do, well, like I said, I usually get it in the oven by like 5:30 p.m. or so. By around like 3 o'clock. So number one, I would punch this down. I punch my challah down at least like twice. I know there's some people don't agree with that because they say not to handle it so much, but I do punch my challah down twice, and which I'm gonna write it out. This don't worry. But the second thing is that around like, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, obviously depends on my schedule and my children. But I usually at that point in the afternoon put it in the tins. So that way they're just rising in the tins. And for some reason, I don't know why, sometimes I actually find that it rises faster. Also, it could be that I put it in at 6 p.m. because that's the first time that I have a moment to put it in. Because that's usually when my husband comes home. So that could also be why I let it rise so long. It's just availability of my time. So you don't have to let it rise for that long. I'm sure it'll be amazing. But just make sure that like, if let's say your dough is about like here or so, like you do want to get it up to, like you do want it to rise at least, like you want to see some progress of your dough rising.
Brooke, I have a question. You said to leave it tonight, perhaps in the refrigerator, but if you do it during the day, do you just leave it on the counter for the day until you're ready to braid it and bake it?
I'll show you. If you can see where my microwave is.
Yeah.
Okay, so right there is my stove.
Mm-hmm.
I leave it there because it's a dark place, and in the winter time, my downstairs is like frigid, and we have heat. My downstairs is frigid, and I bring it upstairs and I put it on my bed on a parchment paper because that's what I feel is like the warmest place. And your dough, if you're cold, your dough is cold, and if you're unhappy, your dough is unhappy. So yes, many times in the winter I will bring it upstairs actually.
So what I'm saying is we don't have to leave it in the refrigerator overnight tonight. We can leave it on the counter.
Yeah. I guess at this hour, what time is it? It's 9:45. So I guess if you're fortunate enough to, sleep for the next 12 hours, then, it might be like a little crazy. So that's what I'm saying. Like put something on the bottom of the bowl.
Bottom. Okay.
I'll be up at 5:30 if anyone wants to come and roll my dough with me.
Sit down tonight for another hour and a half. Should we punch it down tonight if we're still up for another hour, or can we punch it in the bowl in the morning?
I would punch it down one time tonight if you're up for another hour. Yeah. I'm probably just going to do it now when we hang up and when we end, whatever, and punch it down and then cover it because, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Of course. And you guys will see the progress. It'll be like a nice surprise in the morning. It's really going to be smooth. Like really, like this is like super ugly, but the point of it was that I was able to lift it up, at once, and there was no dough on the bottom of the bowl. Yeah. Any other questions?
I've got one more question, Brooke.
Yeah.
So, like for example, it's saying that you hear it on after, and then there's another prayer that's in the women's archbowl siddur after you've separated Challah. Is there a time frame as to how long you can wait before you say that? Like, can you wash your hands and cleaned up and then say it, or should you try to say it after you separate?
Doesn't matter. Yeah. Good question, though. Any other questions, comments?
Not a question, just a comment.
Oh, hi, Mom.
So great to see you all, and I'm so thrilled that we were able to view this from another part of the country. Please do it again. Everything about it was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Have a good night.
Till the next class.
Yeah, and also, I don't know about freshness, but I personally, even if I baked it tomorrow, I actually might even freeze all my challahs and take it out again Friday, but that's just because I'm crazy. But I'm sure you can leave it out from Thursday for Shabbos, but I'm just like crazy about, I get stressed about drying out and whatever. But personally, I think I would freeze it tomorrow even, but all depends on your freezer space also. All righty. Bye, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you.
Bye.
That was wonderful. Thank you.